What's going on, everybody?
The Functional Gentleman is recorded in front of a live studio audience.
Yes, they are. No, that this
really.
is Functional Gentlemen. We're your host, Roy Gravis, a.k.a. Professor Bourbon, Bucky Pender, a.k.a. Dr. Whiskey, the good brother himself, John Marble, a.k.a. the TA assistant for the night.
TA.
What's going on, everybody?
What up, big dog?
Yes, Bucky and I are going to flex our secondary education knowledge because I am a graduate of Old Bourbon State University, home of the bootleggers, go leggers, mascots on the whiteboard, or green board, blackboard, whatever.
You can see our mascots.
See the mascots. Bucky, of course, is from...
I am Dr. Whiskey, graduate of Bourbon Technical and Agricultural College,
Nice.
a.k.a. BTAC.
Home of the Taters.
Home of the Taters.
I love it. Go Taters.
Best fans in the nation, Tater Nation.
Tater Nation. Hashtag Tater Nation.
Man. I had to. It was too easy.
Oh, I know. We're going to have fun with this one.
For sure, for sure.
So,
Ah,
while we're doing that, I forgot to actually do something, so I'm going to...
oh, we got stuff?
No, we do. How was everybody's week? Just out of curiosity.
Fantastic.
Fan-fucking-tastic?
Yes.
Fantastic. Man, that's great.
Hashtag Tater.
Hashtag Tater Nation.
I know you don't. I know you don't get to hear me say it a lot that my week's been fantastic.
I know.
But it's actually been a really good week.
Good.
good
I'm
one.
glad to hear that, man.
Yeah.
That's very good. I like
so
hearing when
real
you have
quick
good
while you
weeks.
do that, I have a couple of quick things that I want to do.
Announcements? I like announcements.
Take the margarita box off the table.
No. The margarita box has shit in it.
Margaritas.
I know. It's fine.
Oh, it's fine.
I'm sure my cup is the
so-
logo's probably spaced out on it too. but-
Neither one of these people have asked or informed the show, but I want to give two quick happy birthdays
Okay.
to two friends of the show.
Okay.
James from Mont Bellevue Bourbon and Cigar Society.
Happy birthday, James!
His birthday is this weekend.
Yay!
And Matt, a friend of the show and a friend of mine that I work with, his birthday is today. So
Fantastic.
happy birthday, Matt.
Happy birthday, Matt.
Happy
Woo!
birthday, Matt and James. Hope y'all have wonderful birthdays and enjoy the crap out of this weekend.
Happy birthday,
Show
Chips
and
and
a
hot
friend of
sauce
mine.
too. Oh, can't do that?
That's not your slogan.
I don't care. I mean, it's the only happy birthday song I know. Is it because my kids like Mexican
Yeah, I mean,
food?
that's, we get stuck going to Casa Lake all the time. Oh, that's funny.
That is
James
too
and Matt?
funny. Yes, James and Matt.
James.
What is James's last name? It's
Paulmore?
Yeah,
I wasn't
something
really
like
going to
that.
say it on air, but it's
I
fine.
didn't know if we were going to tag him.
He's
or
part
not.
of Mont Bellevue Bourbon and Cigar Society.
I
If you
need
want
to slip
to,
out to Mount Bellevue.
I know. I think we got to get out there at some point.
I think we do too. No, wait.
I don't know.
Wait.
The second one.
Wait.
This guy?
Yes, that one. Very good. And then I don't
And
know what
Matthew. Vaughn.
Vaughn. Wait a minute, like Rick Vaughn?
Sure.
Oh, I like Rick Vaughn. Oh shit.
I don't know if it's any of those.
All right, we're gonna hold off on that one.
We're gonna hold off on
Not
that
sure
one.
who any of those people are.
Yes.
Anyways,
Hold off on that
let's
one.
dive into the smoke of the week because we got a
Smoke
load
of
it.
the week.
Smoke of the week.
Domo Lot 23. It is a Nicaraguan wrapper, sun-grown Nicaraguan, a Nicaraguan binder, and a Nicaraguan filler. And it was also cultivated with special tobaccos from the year 2000. Oh. This one has a near and dear place to my heart. That's when
Yeah.
I graduated high school.
Oh,
I went
look
to
at
East
you.
Texas Baptist
2000.
after making a stop and getting my graduate degree from Old Bourbon State University.
Right.
So,
Of course.
so while I'm doing that,
Yeah.
it's always fun to do this kind of stuff and reach and stretch and
Get in
Try not
between
to-
get in between nooks and crannies and
crevices, all that stuff.
yeah.
Get in there real deep like with the Johnnies and the honey
You know,
holes.
I was trying to avoid it, but somebody's sophomore humor was going to take over.
Well, I mean, I was just quoting the line from, what is it, Scary Movie?
Is it Scary Movie?
Yeah,
I think so.
where he's got the strong hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got my little hand.
It's my strong hand.
It's my strong hand.
It's terrible.
I don't see how that's his strong hand, by the way.
That's terrible.
Can we talk about that? I don't see how
My
that's
germs.
My germs.
I'm going to need some Zippo.
Some Zippo.
Yeah, we got the Zippo butane up there.
Oh.
Do you need it?
I do, actually, but I think I got enough lit.
Zippo. Like
Zippo. Like hippo, but with a Z. That should be their advertising slogan.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
I'm pretty good.
Yeah?
I like it.
Thoughts, notes?
So on the palate,
It does smell good.
on the palate, it is very almost cedarish.
Okay.
It's not real heavy though. Mm-hmm. There's a little bit of pepper there.
It's very light colored.
It is very light colored. I think that's actually.
You're making a giant mess. Don't light yourself on fire, please, sir.
Please don't. Yeah.
Can I say it?
No.
The room's on fire! The room's on fire!
The
It
room
might actually be.
The room might actually be on fire here in a minute. 'Cause
Oh, gosh.
I ain't said that in a while.
I know.
I
the room's on
know.
fire.
I guess you're finally getting used to it.
We'll find out how much the room's on fire if I ash on my stomach. Fat boy,
Don't do that.
Fat boy gonna go up like Stay Puft Marshmallow Man up in
I
this
don't know what I'll do.
Run.
Yeah. Well,
It does have good pepper on it. I'll give it that. It's very good. Yeah, according to this, it's an oily Robusto with a great draw. I don't think it's that oily. Of course, then again, I keep my humidor at like 69% humidity
okay.
with my Bravada packs, which I love dearly. Where else? Cedar, coffee, orange peel. I don't get the orange peel, but I get the cedar, I get the coffee, I get a little pepper. So, I mean, all in all, good stick. I walked out for this one with this one and next week's Smoke of the Week, which I'll go ahead and kind of tease it a little bit. It looks like that. That's all I'm going to tell y'all. It looks like that. $15.
Not bad.
Both cigars. So about $7.50 a piece if you had to break it down based off my roundup with Longhorn, because as always, I purchase majority of my stuff from Longhorn Liquor. No big surprise.
For sure.
I need to get into the Beaumont one, check out their humidor. But, excuse me. So, yeah, that's my big spiel of the night. Box is not too, you can get a 5-pack for $32.50 off of Cigar International. So, not too bad. So, do we have a drink of the week in all this, or are we just drinking a lot?
So,
there you go.
Drink of the week. Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Maybe it's because I'm I don't know.
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, so drink of the week is a little bit different this week because we are doing Whiskeynomics and what did you call it? Bourbonology?
Bourbonologist.
Bourbonology.
Yes, Bourbonology. Very good.
Bourbonology and Whiskeynomics.
The study of bourbon.
This is 101, Intro to Whiskey.
Yes.
So I just want to start out by saying whiskey is an umbrella term.
Yes.
So when you think whiskey, don't think one thing. When you think bourbon, you're also drinking whiskey. So whiskey encompasses all of the above.
Yes, it does.
And I just want to make that very known.
Yes.
Because there's too many people that say bourbon and don't think of it as whiskey. So first and foremost,
Well, as long
just
as
wanna
we don't
get
have
that
any
out of there.
whiskey chads, which if you don't know what a whiskey chad,
you know,
so
I didn't really appreciate that.
I didn't either, and I called him on it too real quick. So a fan of the show, I say a fan of the show, another small business that kind of follows us, I'll give them a plug, Southern Iron Kennels in Mount Bellevue, Texas, sent a video of what is a quote-unquote whiskey chad. And I'll have to see if I can repost that on something because it's actually kind of funny.
The video itself is funny.
But it was also to the point where it was kind of a shot at us.
Yeah.
And I didn't appreciate it too much, so I called said owner of Southern Iron Kennels and told him real quick how much of an asshat he was.
Because I do a lot of research in when we do this.
Yes.
I take pride in the stuff that I say on this show, and I want people to be able to trust that comment. Some of the stuff in the video, as funny as it was, and we all know that person or make fun of that person, kind of rubbed me the wrong way because I try to do my best at what we're doing.
You know what I like? You know what I like about it? The biggest thing is that up until this show started,
Didn't know a damn thing.
we didn't know a damn thing, number one, but said owner of Southern Iron Kennels was an Irish whiskey guy.
Oh, really?
Now he's kind of an all over the place whiskey guy.
So just to kind of, let's go ahead.
So I'm guessing whiskey Chad is someone who thinks they know about whiskey but doesn't.
Yeah,
like
we'll
I
have
said,
to repost it,
we'll have
but
to repost it.
it was
It's
basically-
funny, but it was kind of a shot. Not that our feelings are hurt or anything. It was all in good fun.
Yeah.
We don't lose sleep over the opinion of sheep.
So with that, whiskey being a umbrella term,
Yes.
I just kind of wanted to dive into a bunch of different types of whiskey instead of doing a drink of the week.
That's fine.
So my thought is I want to start from the beginning. and you'll see it on the table here. This is what it's called, a white dog or moonshine in some cases. There's a ton of different names for it.
Wait a minute. Who am I? Sorry,
But
I couldn't resist.
this is what it looks like when it comes straight out of... Hey, there he is. You're welcome, buddy. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
That actually was a really good choice, by the way.
So I gave him a little sample bottle.
Nice.
I gave him 3 sample bottles for his birthday.
Okay.
And one of them was the Four Roses Single Barrel Select
Look
from
at
Longhorn.
you.
And because he likes Four Roses small batch, so
Okay.
I figured he'd enjoy it, and he really did. So hope you enjoy those 3 bottles tonight. Don't get too drunk and drive. We don't condone that. But
stuff in here.
I know we got goodies.
We got lots
so,
of goodies.
like I was saying, white dog is what it looks like whenever it comes out of the still. Whiskey is not brown when it is first distilled.
No. It is
and-
very close to moonshine, depending on proof levels and mash bills and stuff.
So
like
whenever
that.
it comes off the still, whiskey cannot be more than 160 proof.
Right.
So, and that keeps it from turning into a neutral grain spirit, which vodka is a neutral grain spirit. It
Yes.
can come off at 190
Yes.
because they're going for no flavor, basically.
Yes.
So,
Get my bourbon notes.
Oh.
I made notes.
so that's kind of where it is. A lot of it obviously is corn. Is usually the main grain used
Right.
in whiskey. You can use pretty much any cereal grain. So whenever we get kind of to a little bit different section, you'll learn that barley goes into it, and then we'll kind of expand from there.
Right.
But for the most part, when you see it, it's going to be majority grain, especially here because bourbon is so big. The majority grain is usually going to be corn. And it just depends on what you're drinking, which we'll get into. But that's how it comes off the still. I didn't want anybody to think it comes off brown. The color actually comes from the barrel.
Yes.
So,
And not just that, from the bourbon side of it, so some legal terminology for bourbon, it has to be born in the U.S. It has to be
Correct.
made in the U.S. It can't be made anywhere else. Bourbon. 51% corn minimum.
correct.
That's what it has to be. It has to be 51% corn minimum. 160 proof maximum distilling, same as whiskey. 125 proof max barreling.
Correct.
New charred oak barrels. Has to go into a new charred oak.
Asterisk, it doesn't have to be a barrel. It
Right.
can be any
it can be any new
oak
charred
container.
vessel.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
And an 80 proof minimum at bottling.
Right.
So that's the legal jargon from the bourbon professor side of it.
And just kind of expanding on the proof, you're taking the alcohol by volume.
Hey, we got people that say love
What's
it.
going on, James? Happy birthday,
Hey,
buddy.
it's
Now that
Clint.
you're in.
Everybody's showing
What
up
up,
late.
Clint? Everybody's showing up now.
Like it.
Glad y'all could attend class. Freaking slackers.
Hey, there ain't no 15-minute rule in this class. We're not getting you a free grade.
Everybody's
today.
getting detention.
Everybody. You get I feel like Oprah. You get
So-
detention. You get detention.
And maybe if you've got anything you want to expand on that,
Okay.
alcohol by volume, you basically take that number,
Yes.
double it, and
Well,
that's how you
yes.
get your proof.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. So,
And you can do and if you have the proof, you can figure out the alcohol per volume by doing the reverse, which is
Right.
dividing it by 2.
correct. So whenever
So
we
if
say
it's-
80 proof,
Yes.
it is 40% alcohol by volume.
Yes.
Okay. Just kind of wanted to clarify, get everybody on the same page.
Yes.
All right. So, what are we doing? I'm
Is it the Roadhouse?
Crap. Cheers, gentlemen.
Well, I'm jealous.
Cheers, sir.
Roadhouse.
I'm jealous. Is that Texas Roadhouse or the Rodair
Probably.
Roadhouse?
I don't
Because
know.
there's a difference.
So, all right. So, 80
Yes.
proof minimum.
Yes.
And that's going to have the least amount of burn. And
Yes. Do
you can
have
go up
anything that's 80 proof?
to, so this was the bottle I brought. Yes. So, this was my beginner bottle.
I think there's stuff in there too, by the way.
Well,
Maybe.
I just kind of wanted to bring a bottle that's, for the most part, easier to find. I don't have
Okay.
anything in. I don't think I have anything in here that's super duper hard to find. Maybe one, but I needed to explain
Okay.
what it is. So this I consider, and I was gonna bring Buffalo Trace. I graduated from BTAC.
Yes.
But I decided to steer away.
I'm glad you did that.
From-
it's not a homer, quote unquote.
Right, I could have, because I had my box of Blantons, I had a bottle of Buffalo Trace, Eagle
Nice.
Rare, and then I was like, you know what? I need to go a different direction with this because I can talk about those all day long.
Right.
So to give everybody a new beginner bourbon, and I think I talked about it.
He could probably teach you.
Oh,
a lot.
I'm sure.
Will there be a test? There may be a pop quiz at the end.
Take notes.
Maybe. There may be a pop quiz.
But I wanted to bring something that I consider a very good beginner bourbon.
Okay.
And this Penelope White Label is a great beginner bourbon. It's 80 proof, so it's the minimum you're going to find. And it's also something that's a little different about it that I enjoyed was that it's a 4-grain bourbon. Most mash bills you see are going to be 3 grains.
Right.
So this one is all 4. This is 4 grain, but it's an easy sipper.
So I'm assuming by 4 grains, we're talking corn, barley, rye,
and wheat.
Yes. Okay.
So, and to kind of give a little more information, this comes from a company called MGP, or now Ross and Squibb. They are probably the best distillery you've never heard of.
Yes.
So if you want to do a little bit of research,
which is odd to say,
I know, you'll find that a lot of whiskeys that you drink today come from MGP.
Yes.
It's called sourcing.
Yes.
Companies go out, they buy barrels of this stuff, they take it back to wherever they're at. They may let it age a little longer. They may put it into a different barrel, whatever they want to do. They blend them. So that's why theirs is a 4 grain. They buy different mash bills, blend them all together, and that's how you get all 4 grains in there. So I'm going to have a little pour of this.
You have a little pour of it. I think I may go White Dog, actually.
Okay.
It's been a hot minute. So this is a 90 proof, so that's, for those of you taking notes, it's 45% alcohol per volume, or ABV.
And if you are watching this and you want more suggestions for maybe a beginner bourbon, I will be more than happy to help out where I can and suggest multiple bottles.
Yes.
Just to name a few: Penelope White Label, Buffalo Trace, Evan Williams bottled in bond. You're going to get into a little bit of a higher proof with it being 100 proof.
Early times bottled
in bond. Even Elijah Craig small batch. It's a great easy sipper. It's a little sweet. If you want to get into more of a softer bourbon, you're going to lean more toward the wheat side.
Yes.
That's when you get into more of the Larceny, the Bernheim, Rebel.
Yes.
Maker's Mark.
Maker's Mark, yeah. It's another weird one.
I mean,
I feel like we've done a bunch of them.
Lone Elm here in Texas
Lone
does
Elm, yeah.
weeded.
Wow, that is super sweet.
And
I don't remember it being sweet the first time I had it.
And that's kind of so. Now that we've actually taken a drink, and I know that's probably the number one question is, how do you drink it straight, neat?
Yep.
Because most people can't do that. Oh, it just burns. All I get is alcohol flavor, et cetera, et cetera.
So it's funny you mentioned alcohol flavor. I have a little tip that I use periodically, and it works more with the nosing than the tasting side of it.
Right.
So as we nose the glass like we do every freaking week, okay, when you smell, you kind of breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. It gives you a more of a better, I guess, nasal profile than anything.
It's a good tip. I like that.
So,
and you'll hear different people say different things on how to do it. Some people recommend going one nostril.
yeah.
Some recommend going both. Keep your mouth open to allow for escaping of flavors. They'll hit your tongue. So there's a lot of things that you can do. But one of the big things I recommend, because like last night I had myself a pour and I walked through the living room and I just stuck it underneath my wife's nose, said, "What do you smell?" And I just stuck it right in there. She got straight ethanol, gas, whatever she wanted to call it.
I love it.
So something I recommend to first timers or beginners, and don't expect to find all the notes.
No.
And that's a mistake I think I tried to make in the very beginning. I wanted to know everything really fast. So something I recommend is starting farther away and going until you hit the point of ethanol. And once you hit that point of ethanol, bring it back slowly, and you'll start to get more flavor notes versus the ethanol. You'll find different things on it.
So to piggyback off your thing, I actually kind of just started this recently, but I take spices and smell them. so where it gives me reference to go back to.
Right. So at that point, you're starting to train your nose, your palate, that type of thing. And that may be something as you get into more of the advanced portions of what we're doing.
Right.
Because one thing I tell a lot of people once you start sipping it is try to just think back to things that you've already had in your life.
Right.
A memory of you eating an orange or whatever. Try to think back to that because you're not going to pick those up. And that was something else I wrote. So when you first start drinking it, I didn't know how else to say this other than give it an analogy. So this is what I wrote, and it was just kind of a fun little thing.
Okay.
So, drinking whiskey and your first sip is a lot like kissing. Your first kiss is usually awkward. You're not going full on. You're not diving straight into it. So you take it slow. Your first sip of whiskey is going to be harsh. You're going to taste the alcohol. It's going to burn. But you take it slow, and you're going to want to go back for another one. That second one is when it starts to get better, and you start figuring out how that person kisses. You start figuring out how to drink the whiskey.
I'm not gonna lie, my first kiss was messed up because I kissed a chick with braces. My shit was all cut up.
Right. See? But
It was abrasive.
you're kissing that person for a reason.
It was abrasive.
Don't stop at your first sip. Don't let your first sip be your last sip.
I got you.
Because a lot of relationships would be ruined if they based it off the first kiss.
Oh,
So something else that's going to happen is it's going to burn all the way down. For the most part, and for a newbie.
true. Okay.
So when it
gotta
hits your
rein the fact back that we're talking
right,
about.
so when it hits your belly, that heat is going to rise back up, and what happens is it gets stuck where your esophagus and your throat kind of all meet, and it basically forms an L of some sorts. I can't really do it on myself, and it gets stuck in that curve. That looked dumb, didn't it?
He was thinking about.
So what you're going to want to do when you feel it right there is blow out. You're going to want to relieve some of that. See, sophomore.
Meanwhile, if you're kissing and it burns all the way down, that's called herpes, and you need to go get that
there
checked.
you go. See, don't do that.
That's what TA assistants are for, man.
Yeah.
But
They come up with the sophomore stuff.
but when you get to that point and you feel it burning back up into your throat, blow out a little bit, and it will relieve that
Yes.
heat, and it will allow you to go back for a second drink. And once you get 2, 3, 4 drinks in, sips in. Sorry, I don't want to say drink because when you think about drinking something, you're just throwing it back.
right.
You don't want to do that. Again,
No,
it's
we're not
like
shooting.
kissing.
We're not shooting stuff on this show.
You're not going full on with your whiskey glass.
You're not going.
Ah.
Yes, that's a clip.
Don't you cut that.
I need you to cut that.
Oh, man.
Oh, Lord.
But that's just kind of,
You're like,
that's just, it was the only way I could really think about it because it's
I love
awkward.
it.
It tastes, it's
It
bad.
and I think everybody remembers their first time, and of course we're talking whiskeys and
Yeah.
bourbons here.
Yeah.
We're not talking anything else, Mr. TA assistant.
But, so another thing I want to recommend everybody do, drink plenty of water beforehand.
Yes.
Keep plenty of water with you.
Eat a big meal beforehand. Do not drink on
Why?
an empty stomach.
Why?
Sorry.
I think it was an accident.
So-
It was a phantom button.
And a little bit more. So a lot of people say, well, I get heartburn when I drink whiskey. Well, you're not really getting heartburn. What you're getting is the burn of your esophagus because your esophagus can actually get dehydrated.
Yes.
So you want to keep your entire body hydrated
Yes.
so that you don't run into that problem. Because one of the things I hear the most whenever I drink whiskey, whether it's Dana's friends that have seen the show and they're like, how does he do it and not go, whatever, freak out and it burns and all this other
Because
stuff.
we are trained professionals with degrees, damn it.
And, but a lot of it is because I literally, we're not trained professionals at all. I drink 99% water all day long.
Yeah.
I mean, there's hardly ever any time I'm drinking something different. I stay hydrated, and especially when we come and do this show, this is always filled with water.
So is that why when you go to a restaurant and you see somebody order a glass of whiskey, they usually order a glass of water with it?
For the
Probably,
most, for
yeah.
the most part, yeah.
And that's another thing. If you want to try something a little different, you can take a few drops of water and put it into your whiskey. It'll tame it down a little bit. but B, it'll also open up different flavor notes.
It also opens up the oils in it,
And
too.
when you do it, so when you take a little drop and you add it, what you don't want to do is swirl it. So you'll see us swirl our glass. When you do that, you want to let it just sit, allowing it to open up. It'll sit there, and then you'll take a sip, and you'll see the different flavors. You don't want to agitate the water with the whiskey.
I like it.
So
I like it.
that's just kind of something that, that's the number one question is how do you drink it? And I feel like what they mean is how do you drink it neat out of a glass?
And I mean, keep in mind, you can drink it because we use it all the time on the show, function your way,
Right.
but not only that, drink your way. I think that's the biggest thing that gets kind of
No, and I'm glad you brought that point up.
Lost in translation.
Just to elaborate on that, that was another thing I posted Monday, and because I wanted everybody's feedback on what they wish somebody would have told them when they first got into the show, into the hobby. And one of them was, don't mix it with Coke. Now,
Yes, do not do that.
that one, and I even commented on there, that's kind of a double-edged sword for me because I want to encourage people to get into the hobby.
Right.
And if starting out with Coke or Dr. Pepper or ginger ale is how you can get into the hobby, great. And if you enjoy it that way, if you're just hanging out with your buddies and you do a little bit of whiskey and Dr. Pepper or whatever the case may be, do it. Drink it how you need to drink it. But if you want to get to the point of drinking it neat, like we do on the show,
Right.
start out with, half and half or however you need to make it, and then slowly decrease the amount of mixer until you get full whiskey flavor. And hopefully that will help you get to the point of drinking it neat and finding the flavor notes that you want to find.
Well, and even I can tell you that, in my whiskey journey, like, if you would have met me 8 years ago, I'd have never drank that.
Yeah.
Like, not straight.
Right.
Like,
Nope.
it had to have a mixer in it. But because of your knowledge and what y'all taught me and stuff like that, I have slowly I'm getting used to actually drinking it straight and neat. And it's because it's weird for me because I can drink Scotch neat.
Right.
But I can't drink bourbon neat.
Well, it's
And
also kind of a quote unquote muscle memory thing too, because I mean,
Yeah.
you're the quote unquote Scotch guy on this show,
Right.
So I mean, for you to say I can drink Scotch neat
Yeah.
doesn't surprise me in the least. 'Cause that's what you've trained
Speaking of
longer and longer and longer.
speaking of Scotch, our buddy James at Longhorn Liquor, shout out Longhorn Liquor.
Yes.
And Mike Wright for supplying us a couple of things that we'll pull out here in a second. I walked in and I was like, "Hey, bud," and he was like, "Yeah, you're here to get the Scotch, right?" And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, the Scotch. You're here to pick it up for the show." I was like, "James, don't do that to me. I swear to God, if there's Scotch back there, I'm gonna be mad." He was like,
Why would
"Gotcha."
Why would you be mad over Scotch?
I mean, I wouldn't be mad over Scotch.
I mean,
Why? Why, Roy? Why?
you got to go that way at some
I'm
point.
just saying, everybody sends y'all bottles. Nobody sends the producer a bottle.
Oh, good.
We'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
All right. So next biggest question I get is how do you find all of those flavor notes? Well, it takes practice.
Yes, it does.
So you're going to get a lot of ethanol at first. You're going to get a lot of it just burns. I don't taste anything. So what you want to do to kind of, in a sense, train your palate, maybe do some things like Roy's mentioned, smell nutmeg, smell orange zest, taste it,
Clove,
et cetera, especially because
cinnamon.
you'll find the base notes of most of them are caramel, vanilla, oak, etc. Those are kind of the base notes. I think everybody remembers what caramel tastes like. It's finding that, and we've talked about it on the show before, the spectrum of caramel.
Right.
Is it that light caramel or is it all the way down to burnt brown sugar?
Right.
But something I recommend people do is start very, very, very vague. Is it sweet? Is it bitter? Is it overpowering? Start super vague, start here, and then try to eventually work your way down. So for 6 months, if you say, okay, this is this is a sweeter whiskey, and I know that versus this one, which is a bitter whiskey, you're ahead of schedule.
Right.
You're already doing better than most.
And no, then if you want a little tool to help you with all that, our friends at Southern Drinking Club with every purchase, whether it's a hat, shirt, whatever, they send you a quote unquote tasting wheel.
Tasting wheel.
That starts out very basic with, is it sweet? Is it whatever? And then it graduates into which direction you go.
What do you want to go with next,
I don't care at this point in time.
Have. Bump it up. All right, so let's do...
Okay. Touchdown, Jesus.
Touchdown, Jesus. So this kind of harkens way back to the beginning of the whole whiskey thing. Irish whiskey is one of the... I guess they, for the most part, they... You're welcome. They kind of claim to be the first, you know?
Yes.
Irish whiskey is made in Ireland.
You don't say.
Oh,
You don't say.
oh, shit. So this one, I don't even know what to say.
No, that's not shit. That's whiskey.
Shit. So a lot of them are going to be single malt,
Yes.
which we'll kind of get into a little bit more here in a little bit.
Yes.
So a single malt, and I kind of talked about it earlier, where corn is going to be more popular in
Bourbon.
And American whiskeys. Malted barley is
Yes.
typically the choice for Irish whiskeys, scotches, which I don't have. Obviously, I don't own any scotches. Didn't bring one.
Where's the
I
button?
apologize, y'all. He don't know.
He does know.
Y'all can't make me feel bad about this. You can't bully me.
We're not making you feel bad.
You're bullying me.
No, we're not. Jesus.
But Irish whiskey will come from Ireland.
Yes.
It is typically a single grain, which is
Yes.
malted barley.
Yes.
And then they can pretty much age it however they want.
Yes, they can.
Whereas we have to do new charred oak barrels or casks or whatever.
Vessels.
They can purchase pre-owned, I guess, bourbon barrels or
refurbished.
whatever they want and still call it Irish whiskey.
Yeah.
So, for example, this is the Glendalough Double Barrel Irish Whiskey, aged first in bourbon barrels and then finished in Oloroso sherry barrels.
Nice.
So, and that kind of goes into a little bit different. Obviously, double barrel is going to be a form of finishing, which I'll get into here in a little bit.
Okay.
So they're taking it out of one thing after they age it, putting it into another, and letting it age a little bit longer, looking for different flavors. Would you like some Irish whiskey?
I would.
You're more than welcome. There's
I
not
don't
a
know. I've never had Touchdown Jesus.
There's not a lot left
There
in this
should
one.
be extra Glens in the in the vault.
And I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm doing a lot of this off of memory. I didn't make notes about any of
No,
these.
you're good.
I literally
You're
picked
good.
these out before the show.
Okay. No, you're super good.
So I said it earlier. Let's see. Let's kind of go back through my nerds.
I didn't know those were things.
Oh,
Yeah.
stay hydrated. That's your number one problem.
Yes.
And this one kind of harkens back to a comment that was made last week with Mike. Don't expect to jump right into getting taint flowers as notes. I thought you
like
said
it.
taint flowers.
He says the word taint on open air.
I don't like it.
It was too funny. I had to put it in here. All right. So let's see. Something else I want to say. What you got, buddy?
I keep trying to get the logo to do right because I have my unique boutique tumbler with the Smoke Syndicate logo on one side and the yes.
What you think?
Y'all both had this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
We've done it on this show.
Yep, we did it on the show. Thoughts?
You can definitely taste the rose. Like it tastes to me like roses.
So it's very floral. See,
Yes.
and that's a
There is
great way to
taint
start.
flower in there.
It's a taint flower, but that's a great way to start. Is so your major note was floral.
Yes.
You picked that up. That can be as broad as you want it,
Yes.
and that's great. So that's just something a little fun.
I would agree with that, yeah.
It's good.
I don't know where this came from. I gotta find the hole. It's like whack-a-mole. So since I kind of talked about it, this bottle freaks me out every time I
the fact
open
that
it.
he brought this, by the way, this bottle does freak him out all the time because of the fact that it has a glass
Yeah, cork.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So real quick, and I want your thoughts on this because I made a note, but I didn't really talk about it whenever I was talking about how to drink whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts on adding ice?
I have to be in a mood for ice But I do say this: if I add ice, I'm not adding multiple cubes. It's normally one big cube, whether it's a sphere or just a big rock or whatever. And I mean, there's companies out there. I think one of them follows us on Instagram. It's Ice Trays.
Ice Tray,
with
yeah.
a Z.
Yeah. They make some pretty cool ones.
They make some pretty neat ice molds that you can get and stuff like that. But yeah, get you, and we'll go into that a little later down the road. But go one rock, as they say.
Yeah. John, do you have a preference? Or you go iced, or are you more? I'm either going to mix it with something, and obviously that's going to have ice in it.
And I know some people that take like a cap full of water from like bottled water and just kind of.
Not really. I think I don't really do.
We
have mics.
Yeah. You have Mike.
I don't really do ice in my whiskey. There have been times where if I'm using a mixer, I will put ice in it. But
Right.
Not in a neat glass of whiskey.
So, I'm glad you said what you said, because I'm on the same page as you. If I'm going to recommend somebody put ice in it, I want you to use a larger cube of some sort.
Yeah, because the larger cube doesn't melt
so it's going to melt a lot slower.
It's not going to
diluting your whiskey, where you'll get kind of like me dropping a little bit of water in mine. You'll slowly open up the whiskey in different ways.
It's funny you mentioned droplets. I almost ordered you a Glencairn pipette.
Ooh, schmancy.
It was yes.
Pipette.
Pipette is a glass tube that you can actually drop water in.
Because you don't want to.
Because you don't
over dilute.
You don't want to just walk up to your tap and be like, pour a little bit of water in. No,
because even doing this, I'm getting more than I want.
Right.
So a pipette is used more in like professional tastings. They'll give you a pipette of water, and you literally just add like a drop or two to your whiskey, allow it to sit for a second, and then taste it again, allowing you to find different flavors.
See, us bootlegger graduates know this kind of stuff.
Bootlegger.
Not to be confused with you taters over there at BTAC.
Come on, man. But, so this one, I'll dive into that since we talked about the little ice thing.
For sure.
So this is a truly finished bourbon whiskey. So what they do is they take their base mash bill, just distillate, whatever you want to call it, and then once it is aged to where they want it, they will take it and put it into another barrel that had another alcohol in it at some point. In this instance, what you got there, buddy?
No, I was just kind of clearing my nasal palate, so to speak, because there's nothing in this glass. And there hadn't been anything. It's a freshly washed glass, and this one has White Dog in it.
Oh, okay.
I was just kind of clearing out the.
So in this instance, we've got a
palate.
We've got a rosé cask finish.
I like the fact that it's a rosé.
The cask previously held rosé wine.
Yes.
So the hope is that it won't overpower it, but there's enough residue in the barrel, remnants in the barrel, that it will impart flavors of the wine or the. I've even seen Curacao barrels.
Yes.
Whatever you're picking, tequila finished, it will impart flavors and notes that you'll be able to pick out that give you a little bit different than just grabbing a bottle of Buffalo Trace or whatever.
And there's multiple companies that do. I mean, our love affair with Angel's Envy, they do a similar thing like this. Penelope's rosé is really good for a rosé cast finish. It's really good. Yeah, please don't break that, because I know you. God. I love watching him cringe every time he opens it.
I do.
It's so funny.
Why would you pick glass on glass? That's the worst sound in the world.
First of all, I don't work for Penelope, therefore I didn't pick glass on glass.
Matt, I'm sending you a message.
And not only Matt, JD too, dang it.
Yeah,
Send
JD.
them all.
Oh, man. So, in the case of some red wines like sherry or whatever, you're going to pick up a little bit drier note. It might dry your mouth out a little bit like you were drinking a wine.
Like the port wine finish that Angel's Envy does to a new beginner, and it will dry you out
for sure
quickly.
And I think it's a great, even some of the finished whiskeys are great beginner whiskeys because they're going to impart a lot more sweeter flavors than you would just get from a straight bourbon or whatever the case may be. You might pick up a little more sweetness from that grapey dryness, or Curacao has a little bit of sweetness to it. If you're a tequila drinker trying to get into whiskey, a tequila finish from Sagamore Spirit or Balcones would be a great start because you'll pick up a ton of tequila notes on the nose and even some on the palate.
For sure, yeah.
But so that finished bourbon is always finished, and the length of time is completely up to the distillery.
Yeah, there's some that do it as little as
I've heard
6
like,
months, and some
I've even heard like 6 weeks.
Yeah.
But I guess it just depends on what you're finishing it in.
Yeah, I mean, it to each his own. I mean, whether it's 6 months, 6 years, whatever. There's something up with this glass.
Yeah?
Yeah. I don't know what. It just smells different.
So I feel like I've been talking for a while. Is there anything you want to you would like to add to this beginner class?
Man, at OBSU, we keep it simple.
Oh, God.
I think it is the glass. But anyway, back to what I was saying. So, I mean, for me, it's just kind of like, try a bunch of different things. And don't be afraid to go, and I know this is a very unpopular term, don't be afraid to go bottom shelf.
And that's actually a really good segue into my next point.
Okay.
So,
Point away.
I wanted to point out some good starting points,
Okay.
if that makes sense. I use point too many times. First one I put on here was don't overpay for anything.
No, God, no. We've talked about it.
It can get really exciting when you first get into this to see certain things and jump into buying a bottle of whatever on the secondary market just so you can have it and try it. Don't overpay.
No. No, and you can do a little research and find out real quick what this stuff MSRP's for, and if it MSRP's for $50 and somebody says, "Hey, I'll sell it to you for $150," tell them politely to go away. And I agree with Jeremy Smith's comment on that too. On some things, bottom shelf actually does beat top shelf sometimes.
And that's something. I mean, I just said it a while ago. I can recommend a ton of quote unquote bottom-ish shelf items that you can start out with. Now, don't get me wrong. My price range is going to be different than somebody's that has a little more, that makes more money than me.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's with
some people can start in the $50 range and never blink an eye. They're okay with it, whatever. For me, I think most average people can live in that $25 to $35 range for a long time.
You could even go a step higher than that. You could even go that $25 to $40 range and live for a long time. I mean, let's be honest. There's several offerings that are
because I mean, if you think about it, when you're so example for me, I spend $80 to $100 on a bottle. I pop it, I try it, I'm disappointed or don't like what's in it. Guess what? I've got to put that $100 bottle back on my shelf, and then I got to look at it every single time I walk into my bedroom to grab a bottle of whiskey.
Just turn the label around backwards. It's fine.
But it's the fact that I knew I spent $100 on it, and now I'm out $100 when I could have bought 2, maybe 3 bottles of something I know I love and want to drink, quote unquote, daily. Well, I'm missing out now, and now it's just sitting there, and I don't like it. I feel like I wasted too much money.
True.
Because $100 for me hits a little different than somebody else.
It does. I get that.
So, great beginner ones if you want to stick in that 35 and under or 40 and under range. I wrote down a few. If you've already tried them and you want more suggestions, again, reach out to us. I'd be more than happy to give you all the suggestions I can. I've got Evan Williams bottled in bond. It's about a $15 bottle.
That's not bad.
Early Times bottle in bond. It's about a $25-ish bottle.
That's a pretty good one.
Knob Creek 9-year. I think it's right around
one of our viewers
$30.
did not like Knob Creek 9-year.
Really?
No.
And again, the Penelope White Label,
Yeah.
great one. I was trying to stay away from it, but here in Southeast Texas, it's pretty easy to find. Buffalo Trace, as long as you get it for $30 or less, is a fantastic pour. I don't care who you are. I mean,
you've got Mellow Corn floating around out there. That's a good one. Old Granddad 114. That's another one that's in that lower echelon.
I will say, if you're going to go the Granddad 114 range, take it slow. It's because the 114 is 114 proof.
Yeah, go with the Old Granddad first, which I think is around that same.
Don't go home and pour a half a glass and just dive right in because it's a higher proof than what you're going to be used to.
Well, I mean, there's other ones too. I mean, there's Midnight Moon, which we've done on the show. Midnight Moon wasn't bad. Western Sun, granted, it was more in that 40, 45-ish range. But I mean, a man can live for a long time in that quote unquote 20 to 40 area and not get any bad. Turkey 101's another one.
Yeah, Wild Turkey 101 is a great one.
Turkey 101.
Once you start bumping up in proof and you're able to get kind of past that 80. So, like I said, Penelope White Label comes in at 80 proof. You'll find a bunch of beginner bourbons come in at 80 proof. Buffalo Trace bumps you up to 90. So, I mean, you can kind of slowly work your way up from 80 to 90. Wild Turkey 101. I mean, you can slowly work your way up to higher things. Rebel 100.
Yep.
It's a wheated whiskey. It comes in at 100 proof. So, I mean, there's ways to work your way up. And
definitely.
But at the same time, kind of just to circle back around, you're still in that $25 to $35 range. And you can, like I said, you can legitimately live there for a long ass time and find amazing whiskeys, as opposed to going out and searching for these unicorns that people are looking for. Even something as simple as Eagle Rare, it's still pretty hard to find. And even though it has an MSRP of $40, there's a lot of stores out there asking $80 to $100 for it.
Burnham, is it Burnham?
Burnham is weeded.
Yeah.
They're part of Heaven Hill. But I mean, there's just a ton of stuff, and you can walk through every type of whiskey at that range. You can try weeded. You can try 100% corn. Like you said, mellow corn. It's 100% corn whiskey.
100% corn.
You can try a high rye. You can try just a standard bourbon mash bill, which is typically that 51% corn.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it before too. Noble Oak comes in around 36, 38, give or take.
Right, and that kind of steps you into that double oaked life, because Noble Oak does all theirs. I believe all of their expressions are double oak.
Yes,
which means they're taking it out of a new charred oak barrel and putting it back into a different new charred oak barrel for X amount of time.
Yes.
So it's a form of finishing, but it's not.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's more refining than finishing, I think.
I like that price range. Yeah, exactly. And you start to get more of those toasted marshmallow oaky flavors. But I like that. I love that $25 to $35 range. Pull one out. What do you got? That's done. Did that. So Canadian whiskey.
Yeah.
Is a fun one to talk about.
It's always fun.
I don't know where. Okay, there's a hole.
What are they doing?
What
are they doing up there in Canada?
An old Canadian. So what's fun about Canadian whiskey is they do it completely different than the way we do. Canadian whiskey is distilled completely separately. So they take their malted barley, distill it. They take their corn, distill it. They take their rye, distill it. So they're all separate.
Yep.
And then once everything is done and aged and whatnot, they come in and blend them all together.
Well, yeah, it's a known fact. A majority of Canadian whiskeys are blended.
Right.
If not all Canadian whiskeys. I mean, I would almost be willing to go out and say all Canadian whiskeys
are blended whiskeys. Now, there are some that are going to be, because they actually refer to most of their whiskey as rye, but it's not the same as what we think of when we think of a rye whiskey.
Yeah, no,
so
it's
for
not
the most part, for the most part, our rye whiskey is like 95.5.
Yeah.
It's 95% rye, 5% malted barley.
Right.
Canadian whiskey, even though they refer to it as rye, is going to be a lower rye percentage.
Yeah, it's going to be around that 21 to like 16, 15, somewhere
in that
there.
range, but they still refer to it as a rye whiskey.
Which, mind-boggling, by the way.
But that's the cool.
Of course, don't they also use like the metric system, and we use imperial or some shit like that?
But I think it's cool how they do it, and they distill everything separately.
Yeah.
So we've got a barrel of rye, we've got a barrel of barley, we got a barrel of corn.
That just seems like it's a whole lot of work to get the same thing,
right?
When you can just do it all at once.
Us here in American whiskey, we do our mash bill is 51% rye, 51% corn, 25% rye, and then whatever percent barley.
Right.
And we just blend it all together, mash it, distill it, and put it in a barrel.
Yep.
They're doing it separately.
Interesting.
You gonna have a pour of that one or no?
I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Canadians.
Okay.
So.
You want to move on to the next one?
He's like, I'm definitely not a fan of that.
Awkward.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. Is that the one? Is that what I think it is?
I think it is. And
All right. So I had to. I did
this
not.
right here just for a second.
Go ahead. I did not actually know this one existed. I don't even know where you pulled this out of. I'm excited about this one because I have not had it yet. Go ahead on.
Barrel Whiskey American Vatted Malt. Cask strength.
They do make good syrup.
So,
Canadians?
oh yeah, Canadians make good syrup. What all they making? They ain't making good whiskey. So this is a 58.75%. What?
Just random ass shit.
They're not making good whiskey. That's not.
No, they make good syrup.
Yeah. No,
He said it.
I know. I see it.
Yeah. 117.5 proof.
Yes.
Say that again.
117.5 proof.
Okay.
So
58.75% ABV.
this kind of gives me an opportunity to talk about a couple of different things. So barrel craft spirits, everything they do comes in at barrel strength, cask strength, whatever you want to call it. Those are all of the same things. And I don't know. I don't think I brought a bottle. I wish I would have now. So barrel strength is whatever they pour it out of the barrel at is what it gets bottled at. So they dump it, they put it in a bottle, and that's it.
Right.
So what's fun about this, and this is kind of the territory, I want some.
And what is the name of this company?
Barrel Craft Spirits.
Barrel Craft Spirits.
They're doing some really awesome things. So basically they go around and get barrels from other companies, blend them all together and make their own thing. They got some crazy ones, and they call them cool names like Dovetail, Seagrass.
Yep.
This one is Barrel Whiskey,
Yes.
American Vatted,
Vatted.
whatever that means.
Let's see if it says on the back.
So I've got some stats on this one. I had to look it up.
Oh, okay, go ahead then.
All right. So this is distilled in New York, Texas, Indiana, New Mexico, Washington, and Arizona.
Yes.
These distilleries include, but is not limited to, and you'll love this one, Balcones, Hamilton Distillers, Del Bach, MGP, Harvest Distillery, Santa Fe, and Kings County out of New York.
Yes.
That I thought it was kind of cool that they went and got Balcones' single malt.
Yeah.
It is 100% malted barley, so it is an American single malt, which is a brand new category.
Yes.
Officially a
Officially
brand new category.
Yes.
Let's see, it's 117.5 proof. The release date was August of 2019.
Okay.
Age is anywhere from 1.5 to 8 years old.
Yes.
You got anything else on the back of there?
No, I think you covered everything, honestly.
So, and credit to Breaking Bourbon, they always have really great notes on theirs.
Oh, yeah, they do.
So what they say is the Scots historically referred to the combining of single malts to make a Scotch as vatting. So that's where the vatted comes from. And the name pays homage to the Scots traditional terminology, which has since been replaced by the term blending. What are you laughing at?
Half gallon of McCormick.
Hell
whiskey,
yeah!
$9.99, getting it done. Yes. Applaud that man.
You want to?
I love it because let's be honest, you kind of give me crap because I like to live kind of in that bottom. Bucky says I'm a bottom shelf hound is what I am. Like I will raid a bottom shelf.
You want a bad morning? Get you a bottle of McCormick's whiskey for $9.99. You will hate your life in the morning. I promise. I don't care how much you drink. You're going to still hate your life.
You won't hate life.
I mean,
obviously Brent doesn't hate life.
I'm impressed. If you're drinking $9.99 McCormick's whiskey, I'm impressed. Consider me impressed.
Why, Ike? Whatever do you mean?
So I'm still fairly.
He's like, damn it.
Fuck you. I'm still fairly new to the American single malt.
You're not as new as what you think you are, because I found out something by talking with our dear friend Mike Wright.
Yeah.
Balcones lineage
Right, is a single malt.
is an American single malt.
And I get that, but for the most part, I am fairly new to the single malt, Scotch, Irish whiskey game.
Don't mention his favorite word. Peated.
I struggled through that. And,
Hell. I still don't understand
I love
that.
Andalusia to death. Love those guys. Love all of them.
Revenant Oak is like next level good.
That was tough.
That's
Like,
next
I
level good.
struggled through that
You was
one.
on the struggle bus?
Oh, my gosh. Straight struggle bus.
The peach struggle bus. I like it.
It stunk the whole way.
That's awesome.
All right, so dark fruit.
Yeah, you can get that single. You can get that single malt for sure.
It's like really dark fruit for me. Like a grape, like a
black cherry.
almost a raisin.
I think black cherry.
I could see maybe some like a cherry cola.
No, I don't get the cola. I just get black cherry.
Ooh. Woo!
What was that all about?
I don't know. That hit. Woo!
It's a little different, doesn't it?
Okay. See, even as non-experienced as I am, there are still some that get to me a little different. Whew.
That's good. That is very good. I like it. I like it a lot. It's got
All right.
it's got the right
Hang
amount
on.
of heat.
Let me try that again. That was sip number one of something completely different than everything else we've drank.
Right.
So American single malt is as close to, and it's what they're trying to do is compete with the Scotch category.
Yes, they are.
American single malt in America is going to be probably the hottest thing of 2023.
Oh yeah, there's several dudes that have said it already. That one dude Ryan said it already.
Jack Daniels has already
Fred-
released. Jack Daniels is
Minnick has
released.
kind of said
Yeah.
stuff about it as well.
When you see somebody like Jack Daniels release a single barrel, a single malt,
Yeah.
you know
You
it's
know
going
it's
to be
fixing
a
to be
hot.
big.
It's going to be some hot shit. What do you do? Looking like a camel or something.
Broke
you
back
saw
camel.
you
Yeah.
saw his back go.
You saw the humpback.
All right,
That's funny.
I'm gonna give it a. Let me do this again.
Okay. I'll wait. It hits different. Mm-hmm. Burns a little bit. Mm-hmm. Did you give it a Kentucky chew, or do they teach that at BTAC?
They do.
Okay. Just wondering.
Screw yourself.
You know what this is, don't you? This is a remake of Texas, Oklahoma.
All of a sudden becomes Texas versus Oklahoma.
That's literally what it is.
It's 112 proof and BTAC still sucks.
Well, in this case, it's 117 and a half, and BTAC still sucks.
Licorice,
I'm curious, black licorice or just licorice in general?
black licorice. Like hints.
Okay.
Not like overpowering to where I couldn't drink it.
The Jack Single Malt Sherry.
Is delicious. I do want to get. I mean, I'm open to trying these things. Lineage really opened that up for me. I thought I can do this American single malt that's seems to be, especially with Balcones,
Oh, yeah.
because they've got they've got Lineage, they've got so many offerings that I want to get into this category.
Andalusia's got a bunch of offerings.
Andalusia is
Prime
doing
example,
great
Striker. Yeah,
things.
Striker's one that's a good one. Which I almost got a bottle of Striker the other
So
day.
here's a weird one. When you light your cigars for
Yes.
smoke of the week, I often say I get that tobacco-y, woody of some sort.
Right.
I get a little bit of that on the palate of this.
That makes
like a
sense.
tobacco, leaf, woody something.
I get almost. Let me try this again.
And there's and I don't know how to equate it because I don't know if the flavor is there, but my mouth, after I swallow and let it sit for a minute, my mouth waters like whenever you eat something sour or you smell something sour, I get that watery in my mouth. Like it's building up in my jaws. The end. Anticipation is
I
killing
know,
us.
right? It almost is kind of like, to me, it's kind of the
There's something there.
Alec Bradley, Connecticut. It's like a Connecticut broadleaf, real light.
Right. But it's that tobacco.
Real mellow, yes. I get where you're going
You
with
feel
that.
that?
I feel it. I get
So I'm
where
not crazy.
Never.
Never.
Shock face. Never. Right.
Um,
Look, it's a dinosaur.
dude. Oh, he just walks across
Yeah,
this time.
that time he just-
I got
Well,
you,
you
buddy.
made fun of me for.
Well,
You did
I
make
mean, you
fun
look
of me.
funny.
I'm just saying. I went to
you
break
get-
the stick,
you get-
and then there was a cat episode, and it was awkward.
Cat episode.
Yeah. By the way, you have a cat in your backyard.
How was that? So you're saying you went to break the stick and you got some pussy?
I mean,
Breaking news.
no. I meant to press that.
Breaking news.
Oh shit!
Funny.
What else? What else I got in here?
I don't know. You're the one with all the notes.
So-
I didn't have enough time to do notes.
No, but this-
I mean, I did some notes. Like to me, glassware is a big thing.
Okay.
Like, have the right glassware to do this.
Well, let's dive into that a little bit.
Okay. So you have your, of course, standard
Dang, I should have brought my glasses.
Glencairn.
That's what I forgot.
I thought you just took them off your face.
Well, that too.
Okay. But it's okay. I got you covered a little bit. And you got what I refer to as the fat bottom Betty of tulip glasses, which
Yes.
is this one's courtesy of Southern Drinking Club. I'm gonna get real fancy with the balancing act.
I'm
you
worried.
don't mind,
Yeah, that
there's
scared me.
Yeah, I'm
actually
super worried.
one more in that cabinet. It's not. It's a little different than it's kind of a combination of both of these.
Okay. I thought at one point we had one on the desk. So something I kind of wanted to talk about with the glassware. Nope,
Should
nothing.
be- open the door.
You might have to spin it.
I think
it's spinnies.
I think it's behind the.
Oh, look at you using the bottom shelf for
I think it's the bottom. shelf.
cigars. Nothing?
I think it's behind them.
Spin it. Spin it.
Oh, it's inside.
It's inside. I knew
It's
it was
spinning.
somewhere in there. I knew I wasn't crazy. Yes.
Maybe.
Maybe. Do 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 do.
Should be like
do, do.
3 or 4 of them.
This is making for great television.
Well, it's fine. Everybody knows.
They're all Glencairns.
No, they're not. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what we're
That's
looking
not a
for.
Glen. That's slightly different. than
It's a little
Glen.
different.
you want?
Yeah, sure, why
That's what I'm
not?
talking about. Because this one kind of, to me, this
See,
one.
I don't know.
So
This one's a combination of the best of both worlds. So you have the Glen, which is narrow top, fat bottom.
Mm-hmm.
You have this thing, which is fat bottom, or fat mouth, however you want to look at it.
Great
and then
for
you have
kissing.
this variation that is kind of a happy medium between the two.
So what I like, and I think most of the industry refers to them as, is a tulip
Yes,
shaped
a tulip
glass.
shape.
So the
Which, so where everybody doesn't get freaked out.
thank you. So the advantage of a tulip shaped glass is it catches your whiskey in the bulb
Yes.
fat part.
Yes.
And what you're trying to do is funnel flavors from here to here
Yes.
without just being a giant burst of ethanol.
Correct.
So you're funneling those flavors, allowing it to escape just slightly. And then, like I said earlier, you start a little further away and you work your way closer
Right.
until you hit that ethanol point and then come back a little bit. So the great part about these is what I like is obviously you can get as much into it as you need to or
Right.
as far as away as you need to. But also when you drink, you're basically forced to take smaller sips with a glass of this nature.
Right.
And what I don't like is, and especially kind of the whole part about that Whiskey Chad video, is there's oftentimes people are like, oh, you think you're just fancy as fuck because you're using a Glencairn. There is nothing about this that makes me feel manly or anything. Like, this is not cool.
No, but you see how the different techniques, though, like he twirls from the bottom. When I do it, I
Time
go
out.
from the top.
Time out on that, okay? Because you say that there's nothing about do it again. There's nothing about that makes you feel manly, okay? But I want to bring you back to the 1920s when manhood wasn't defined that you worked in a plant. Okay,
Right.
Manhood was defined by how you treated people, what you wore, how you drank your whiskey, and how you interacted with people. That's what a true man is. It doesn't matter where you work. Okay, I hate that crap. Just because you put on work boots every day doesn't make you a
Preach,
man.
brother. Preach.
Like, I'm gonna give myself a round of applause for that.
Well, there's
because I get irritated at
There's
that.
guys too that don't put on work boots every day that still, you know, I drink my, you know, whiskey out of a rocks glass. I drink it out of whatever. Drink it how you want to drink it.
Right.
I mean, we on this show, we prefer the Glencairn. I mean, it's a no big secret.
I think we both agree that we prefer it because of what I just said. It funnels the flavor. Because we want to give people our best interpretation of
don't get me wrong, could we have saved money and just got rocks glasses out of the cabinet?
They're way
yes,
cheaper.
we could have. They're way cheaper because you're looking at like $20 for 2 Glencairns.
Now, don't get me wrong. When you go with if you go with the Glencairn, you are coming out a little bit cheaper than some of the tulip-shaped glasses that you'll find.
Very much so, yes.
Whiskey Wisdom glasses are amazing glasses. They've got a fat they've got the tulip shape, but they have a thicker bottom, so they're sturdy. They're just great glasses
you can
overall.
be made to.
Right, you can slam it, whatever you need to do.
Right.
But they're also like $60 for a pair, or $75, whatever it was. I don't remember how much it was. So they can get as expensive as you want, or you can go as cheap as you want. I've even seen people do wine glasses in a pinch, because a wine glass will do that, and it.
So stats and information. I'm gonna drop a little knowledge on y'all tonight. I need you to look up a Glencairn Canadian.
I'm gonna now break the stick.
You can break the stick. He'll have this pulled up when you come back in, because I want you to see the difference in this when you get back in. So I learned about this recently, like within the last probably month. Okay, yeah, total different. Yeah, that one right, the second one, yes, that one right there. So that is a Glencairn Canadian whiskey glass, is what it is. Okay.
Oh wow.
So the Glencairn Canadian is basically a Glencairn, but without the pedestal. Because you see how the one I'm holding, and I'm gonna hold it by the neck, how it has that pedestal on it. That is. So where you can do this, or you can do this, but this part of it, and I know a lot of people don't know this, the part I have in my hand right now, it's made like this because of the fact that you don't want your fingertips to heat the whiskey.
Right.
That's why this is here.
Yeah. That's the big
why
part
Bucky and I have different techniques on how we do it. Bucky grabs from the bottom and twirls. I grab from the top because I know I'm never going to fill this thing all the way full.
Right.
So I twirl like this. But check the screen while I'm doing this. That is a Glencairn Canadian is what
so
that
it's
is.
very similar to a Whiskey Wisdom
Yes, it is.
glass.
And not near as expensive, by the way. So Whiskey Wisdom basically took the best of all worlds. Yes.
Combined it into one.
Yes.
And did it that way.
Yes.
Because there's also another one, and I can't think. I almost want to say it's some type of Irish Glencairn in a sense, but I don't think it's not called a Glencairn. But the whole point is kind of similar to what we're talking about. So the point of whiskey glasses is you don't want to hold it and heat up your whiskey, because you don't want hot whiskey.
No, you don't want hot whiskey.
So the whole point is you want to hold it like a Roy. You go here and you kind of do what you need to do, and then you transfer and you drink.
Yes.
Or you do like I do and you just hold it and you just drink.
Yes. But you so here's another thing interesting about glassware, and we'll dive into this more next week. If you go into the blind realm, look up a Glencairn blind.
Yeah.
You ever seen one?
Yeah, so they're black.
Yes, they're black.
That way you can't tell color.
You can't tell anything.
Or anything. So the one I was talking about, and I don't remember what it's called.
And they're not just black, by the way.
So there's a blue one. That one's
There's
kind of
blue,
cool.
there's red, there's gold.
That one's pretty cool. I like the all black. Obviously, is always really cool.
I mean, there's multiple
colors. That way,
green, gold, red, blue, black.
The point there is to hide.
That's pretty cool.
It's to hide the color. It's to hide the color, is what it is.
So why would you want to hide the color? Just
so if you're doing a true quote unquote,
blind.
because I know when some people do blinds, they use a regular Glencairn. They have somebody else
hey,
pour.
honey, mix these up.
So the aspect of the blind is the fact that you can't, because like in a Glencairn, you can look and see, like prime example, okay, this Glendalough is a different shade of color than this barrel that is a different shade of color than this High West.
Right. It's a little bit more red or tin on it in there.
So the black Glencairn takes all that away. It's a true
another one
blind.
I would have loved to brought was the Balmorea, the Garrison Brothers Balmorea. It is super dark.
Right.
Like if you handed me a glass of Balmorea versus the Glendalough, I could tell you immediately which one it is. So you're trying to eliminate that.
Yeah, you're trying to give it that quote unquote true blind factor.
Okay.
But I will say, let's kind of elaborate on the blind aspect of it.
Okay.
And that's something I wish I would have done a lot more in the beginning. And I want to get more into as I move forward in my journey is doing blinds.
Yep.
If as a beginner, once you kind of start figuring out where you're at and what you're drinking, something I would definitely recommend, because you're going to look at a bottle. All right, I've heard a shit ton about Penelope. In my head, I am convinced that I'm supposed to like this.
Right.
You're going to convince yourself. The power of suggestion. We talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
I get apples, and all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I think you're right. I get apples.
You're right, yeah.
You're told over and over and over again that you're supposed to like Penelope. So at what point are we good? Let's just verify. Hold on. Timeout. Sorry, y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still going
Cool.
on. It's still going on Streamlabs.
So I would definitely recommend when you get to a point where you're, let's say you found 6 bottles. You've bought 6 bottles. You've tried them all. You know you like this one. You know you're not such a fan of this one. Have a third party pour you 3 separate glasses.
Yep.
Don't tell you what's in each one of them, and slowly try each of them. Take a drink of water after each one. Come backwards. Go forward. Just kind of try them and pick out. Okay, I like A third most. I like B first most. A.
Well, not just that.
B, C.
I like to do a little thing on the side, and it's actually there's one in the front of that I can't even think of what it's called.
Words are hard.
Words are hard. So in the caddy in front of John, if John looks in the end pocket, there is a tasting note card.
Right.
That's a sticker. Keep going. There you go. Right there in the front. There you go.
Yeah.
So those are designed to where you pick out, I think it's like 4 notes per line. Yeah.
There you go.
So you can do 2 whiskeys and pull out your 4 main notes. Like I get brown sugar, dark fruit, yada, yada, yada.
And I like that more than licorice,
Yes.
smokiness, peatiness. So I'm going to rank A under
higher than, yes.
B.
Gotcha.
Because I found floral, sweet, whatever. So in a blind, you won't know what you're drinking.
Yep.
Right.
And who's to say I didn't rank Andalusia Revenant over Penelope, whatever.
Yeah, because I mean, we had a
French Oak.
We had a friend of the show. Well, I say a friend of the show. I feel we can call him a friend. That one dude, Ryan, did an interesting one with Jameson and Proper 12.
Right. And he was actually more surprised by how much he liked Proper 12 or liked Jameson over Proper 12.
Yeah, because when he did it knowing what it is, he automatically gravitated to, I like Proper 12 more than Jameson.
Because he said it on his lives. If you watch on Tuesday nights, whenever he goes live, he's said it before because the questions always come up. Wow, it's come up. Let your sophomore humor take over that one. Woo! He'll prefer Jameson Black Barrel over regular Jameson.
And I think John's in that same
Yes,
school
sir.
of thought.
Yeah, for sure. I like Jameson Black Barrel.
Black Barrel is my favorite Jameson of all time.
Yeah,
In
definitely.
fact, almost my favorite Irish whiskey of all time.
Oh, I can't go that far. I can't get down with that.
But blinds will allow you to see,
my favorite Jameson's in that barrel.
right?
Right. But I'm talking about stuff you can buy.
Right. I'm going to go
that's
into the
not-
store and buy
Yeah.
it. Yeah. So, I mean, that's a little different.
Saying.
But a blind will allow you to see which you like better
I did it
without
my way.
knowing.
Sinatra.
But that's one of the fun part about blinds. Take notes. Do it without knowing what's in what glass.
I definitely think y'all should do a good.
I think we should do a
some
blind.
blinds.
I feel a blinds
I
in
could-
the future.
Maybe
can
what we
definitely
could
do
do is like I could come to your house and pick a couple bottles.
Yeah.
And we just
Before
set
the
them up,
show.
do some
Yeah.
blinds.
We
And
can
boom.
do that.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
And it kind of tells you the truth about, because I can say all day long I love Buffalo Trace, but at the end of the day, it may rank last in a blind.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Because, I mean, you don't know what's... That's the whole point of a blind. You don't know what's in it.
And it's a great way to find what you truly do like.
I've got a better idea.
Oh, God.
Shit.
All
He's
right.
so excited.
So
He's
we're
got
doing...
jazz
No.
hands.
We're doing our March Madness alcohol whiskey thing this year, huh?
Yeah.
Make them all blinds.
Ooh.
We'll have to talk about that one.
Yeah.
We'll have to
Yeah.
have a post-show
I like where
meeting
you're
about
going.
that one.
Hey, my wife's going to Walmart.
Yeah.
Your wife's going to
I gotta
Walmart?
go to Walmart after this.
Oh, God.
All right,
I
so-
avoid Walmart like the plague.
One more time, and this one I've never had. And shout out again to Mike Wright of Longhorn Liquor and everything they're doing. This is High West High Country,
Interesting.
American single malt limited supply. I know nothing about this.
Let's not use that one.
Full discretion. The thoughts of Roy and Bucky about Walmart do not go for everybody here. I actually happen to love Walmart.
I don't like
It's a
it
great company, and yeah.
because my wife spends too much money.
Fucking stop.
What?
There you go.
I love Walmart. They're a great company.
That's
You know, Walmart and kiss my hairy ass.
bubble gum. So I smelled the cork and it smelled like bubble gum.
Bubble gum. Like, wait. What kind of bubble gum?
I don't
Talking about like juicy fruit
like
or
the pink bubble yum.
Okay, like
big
you get in the wrappers.
brick. Yeah,
Yeah.
that one.
They break your teeth when you
Bubble
chew right
yum.
into them.
So I'm gonna do. I want to. Okay, nope. I'm not. I'm gonna do it without knowing anything.
He's like, nope.
All right.
Nope.
Another American single malt.
Okay.
Oh gosh, all I can taste is Scotch, and I don't like it. Still pink bubble gum on the nose.
Still pink bubble gum.
Bubble yum. That's what it's called.
Nope, still there on the palate. Black licorice,
Oh,
tobacco.
that is good.
It's a little lighter.
That's really good, actually.
All right, so that was 117 proof.
Si, senor.
44% alcohol by volume, so 88 proof.
Yes.
So a lot less proof.
Yes.
This is bottled by High West Distillery out of Park City, Utah.
Park City, Utah?
Ooh, okay, so I don't even have to look.
Oh, shit.
All right, so I'm curious where you're at with this one.
Okay. For a lower proof, I like it. I'm not going to lie. For a lower proof, I like it. It's not abrasive. It's very approachable, to me at least. But like I said, I like you saw prime example.
It's going
of
to take a
whiskey.
lot for me to get to the Scotch realm. I'm just letting you know now. I'm struggling through these two.
He's on the struggle bus, ladies
right.
and gentlemen.
So they have tasting notes on their bottle. You ready?
Okay, go for it.
Toasted marshmallow,
No.
roasted walnuts,
Yes.
honeycomb.
I could see that one as well. I could see the last two. The toasted marshmallow, negative. Don't get that. High West, you're smoking crack.
So a blend of 100% copper pot stilled malt whiskeys, aged a minimum of 2 years and produced high in the Wasatch Mountains of Utah, unfiltered and distilled on the grain for a robust
Spit
Western
bottle.
character.
Whose crotch?
Your mom's. Damn.
She's a nice lady.
He's a nice lady.
Sorry.
What she? The what? What crotch or
What? Wasatch?
Wasatch?
I don't know how to pronounce it.
Okay, whatever.
Oh, God dang. All right, I feel like we've gotten away from this. It's gotten away from us.
It's probably gotten away from us.
The train's off the rails. We
I'm
haven't said that one in a
shocked.
while.
This is batch 21J21, by the way, just in case you're curious.
Cool story, bro.
Cool story, bro. The mountains are calling and I must go. John Muir. Muir. I like it. I'm not going to lie. To me, it's pretty good.
Cool.
I like it. I like the little flecks in the bottle, the little air bubbles. You can tell they probably blew the glass.
Ooh, so you brought up earlier.
God. He goes, ooh.
So
Squirrel.
yeah, I'm just trying to I'm trying to tie everything into a beginner's thought process.
Okay.
So
Ask yourself that, because it wasn't too long ago.
I know,
you were
right?
A beginner.
And that's what I'm trying to hearken
I
a
felt
lot of
this
this
was your
back.
whole wheelhouse.
Right. So something I wish I would have done, and you mentioned it earlier, the Southern Drinking Club, their note card with all the tasting notes on it.
Yes.
How you start very vague and then you try to narrow it down.
Yes.
So something I would recommend, and like we talked about, you're doing blinds, you're trying to figure out where you're at, what you love. Something I highly recommend is buying some type of notebook to take notes of these things.
The green shit doesn't show up on green screen.
No, it don't.
It doesn't.
It's green.
That's why I can't wear my damn fitted hat.
It's green.
I know.
But so something I wish I would have done when I was coming up through this on the show, off the show, whatever.
Yeah.
Is, and you don't have to go and spend a ton of money on one from like Amazon or any of those companies.
Just get your damn notebook.
Run down to the Dollar General, get you a $1 notebook.
Yes.
And start on page 1 and write, all right, I just bought High West Double Rye.
Yep.
Whatever it is. This is what I'm thinking. This is what I like about it. This is what I don't like about it. This is the proof.
Yeah.
This is the mash bill that I could find online.
Yeah.
Make notes. And then do it again. Turn the page. Start over. I just bought Buffalo Trace. This is what I like about it. This is what I don't like about it. And find your wheelhouse first and foremost. Mm-hmm. What do you like most about what? I lean more toward the sweeter palate. Mm-hmm. I wish I would have had notes on a lot of those things that we did early on so that I could cater my shelf, my whiskey shelf at home, to the things that I like instead of just blindly spending dollars.
Here's the thing that I find odd with notes. What in the hell are you doing?
We don't know. We just smile and nod.
Yeah. Take notes, yes, but here's the thing. Don't be afraid to go back and reevaluate your notes 6 months, 8 months, a year later.
And that's
because as I guess air breathing mammals, things are going to change. Your taste are going to change. Your sense of smell is going to change. All that kind of stuff.
right.
So what you taste today, you may not taste 6 months, 8 months, a year down the road.
100% agree. And I have the perfect example of that. And that was a big reason why, and on my Facebook post, the last one was, don't let your first sip be your last sip.
Right.
A great example of that, personally, is Big Daddy's Bourbon, which sounds weird.
I don't know if I've ever had that.
I got it while we were in Tennessee.
Okay.
It came from Triple X Distillery. It was on their shelf. I was like, cool. I like the way it looks. Didn't love it my first try. I popped it during National Bourbon Heritage Month, I think.
Okay.
Wasn't a huge fan. It sat on my shelf. Dana poured it for 25 days of whiskey, trying it blind. With time to open up, I went back to it. Was actually pretty good.
Okay.
So that's a really good example of letting it open up, like you're talking about. We're human.
And don't be afraid. And don't be afraid to do this every once in a while either.
So speaking of which,
just let it sit.
And that's a great time to show off our beautiful Southeast Texas Whiskey Festival decanter, courtesy of Mike Wright and Longhorn Liquor. How beautiful is this thing?
Very.
But so a great part about a decanter is obviously you pour in whichever whiskey you choose.
Not that.
But no, God, no.
Not that.
It's not quite as sealed as something like a cork.
Right.
So you just kind of put it back on, but it allows a lot of air, a lot of oxygen, breathing, and you'll get something that opens up in a completely different way. Mm-hmm. So fill it up with whatever, let it sit for a little while, come back, try it again. And it's fancy. I could pour some McCormick's in this.
You can pour sweet tea in that to some of the people we know, and they would probably be like, "Ooh."
Nobody knows it's McCormick's. And I'll be like, "Hey,
Some of that,
you
some of
gotta
that
try this
$9.99
one.
half bottle, half gallon.
Half gallon. Hey, you gotta try this
you
one.
gotta try this.
Let me pour you a glass, bro. It's super. Look how fancy this thing is." And they're like, "Oh my god, this is so amazing!" And you're like, "Yeah, that's not McCormick's.
Power of suggestion.
$1,500.
Happens every time.
That's a $1,500 bottle. You don't even know."
No,
I don't even know.
don't know.
But that's a good way to do it too. If you want to, we could talk about the infinity bottle.
Yes,
This would be a great way to do an infinity bottle.
I feel we probably need to transfer the infinity bottle into something.
I'm gonna have to buy a half gallon of $9.99 McCormick so we can start filling that thing up.
Yeah, just buy the half-gallon bottle. God, love it. What else is in that box?
But a fun thing to do.
Just pull everything out. Just pull it
yeah,
all out.
Okay, so
Pull it all out.
what do we
Who
got?
cares? Let's see what we got.
Oh,
Okay.
rye whiskey.
Rye whiskey.
Easily available, bullet rye, 95.5, 95% rye, 5% malted barley.
Maker's Mark cash strength. Unopened, by the way.
Unopened. That would be a fresh crack if you want to do it. So,
We might save this one for next week's episode.
okay. Well, I won't talk about it then.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When I saw its cash strength, I'm like, oh yes.
See, senor. What else? I don't know what else is in
I
there.
feel like something's fixing to bite me any minute. Okay, that's Pendleton.
Pendleton. There is a bottle in here that I do want to talk about, and maybe it's next week. This one.
Okay.
Let's do it next week.
Ooh.
Where are we at?
Hour
and 26 minutes.
Right
All
at
right.
hour 26.
Okay, so real quick, rye whiskey.
Cliff notes.
Let's just do rye whiskey.
Yes.
It's going to be a higher rye content. If you're wanting to get into rye whiskey, start with something like Buffalo Trace, which is about, give or take, 20 to 25% rye, and work your way up. So Bullet, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but as you can see, my bottle's pretty low. It's great. It makes great old fashions, but something like this is going to be a 95% rye, 5% malted barley. So what you're going to find in a rye whiskey is a lot of peppery notes. And you mentioned earlier, you're going to get more of that pepper than anything else. So a rye whiskey is a great, let's just call it a great winter whiskey, because it's gonna warm you up. It's gonna give those spicier flavors. It's gonna take a little more for you to move into that realm, I guess, in a sense.
Yep.
Because corn, it gives off a lot of sweetness. Wheat gives off a lot of softness. Barley gives off a lot of bready, yeast type of notes. Rye is going to give you full spice. You're going full spiciness. It's, let's call it the Mexican of whiskeys.
Okay.
You're going to get the spiciness of it. You're going to get all of that. Don't look at me like that. Your wife is spicy, right?
That's racist.
That's not racist. Really? That's not racist.
I'm thinking.
I'm just saying, Mexicans enjoy spicy food. It's going to be the Mexican of your whiskey choice.
Okay.
It's spicy. I like rye whiskey. Now, I did
yeah.
not. I
You
was
did
not a
not.
big fan
No,
of it.
he was not.
And I worked my way into it.
Yes, he did.
So that's just kind of the rundown of rye whiskey. We'll dive into some of these other bottles, like the one you've got over there.
Yes.
The one I've got hidden in here, wherever it went. I don't know. That one.
I think that one's going to be interesting, too.
Because I want to explain a few other things, but I know you've got to get up early in the morning. I've got to work tomorrow. Yeah, I've just realized that yesterday, and I was like, God dang it. But I think
What's your boss thinking?
we both agreed to kind of cut this one off at an hour and a half, but I do have some quick questions for you. So I want to know.
Sometimes heavy pickle notes. Interesting.
Ooh, very
I
interesting.
like that one. Okay.
We'll have to think about that one.
I got something. I got a question. I got a question back here in the back.
Okay. What your question is?
What is your? Because I know you're the quote unquote whiskey nerd on the show.
Okay.
What is your thoughts? Because everybody in the world is talking about this. So for those of you who don't know, Justin's House of Bourbon, which is big in Lexington and Louisville, Kentucky, was recently rated by the Kentucky ABC and the ATF for basically doing shady secondary market practices. We'll just say it like that.
So here's my thought. Justin's House of Bourbon, from what I understand, is doing good things in a lot of different places. It's more of a museum of antique whiskeys. I've never been. I'd love to go. Most normal people walking in are not going to buy the bottles they have on their shelf. There's some weird, antique, dusty whiskey laws that I think need to be maybe reevaluated. I think the word rated is giving this a huge negative connotation, and there's too many negative thoughts going into this because I honestly believe within the next 2 to 4 weeks, this is going to be 100% resolved, and Justin's House of Bourbon is going to go back to normal operation.
Oh, I can tell you right now. You want to hit the breaking news button? I have a statement from the House of Bourbon in Kentucky.
Okay.
44 minutes ago, to be exact. First and foremost, we want to thank our supporters for the tremendous outpouring of love and solidarity that we have received the last week.
You're welcome, buddy.
We value each of you and are extremely proud to serve you day in and day out in our Lexington and Louisville locations. As citizens and business owners, we have profound respect for law enforcement and have wholeheartedly cooperated throughout this process. Among a sea of industry giants, we have worked hard to find a niche local business that celebrates the culture and innovative spirits of the Commonwealth, which, take that for what it's worth.
Yeah.
Our brand is our name and holds the same value and integrity that we were raised on right here in Kentucky. From inception, Justin's House of Whiskey has been an accessible gathering place within each community. Effective Saturday morning, we welcome you back.
Ha!
Lexington location will resume hours Saturday, January 21st, with Justin's House of Whiskey, Louisville, open to customers, I'm assuming next week.
Right. So that goes right along with what I was saying. I figured everything would go back to normal. I think rated was such a negative connotation, and it brought on too many comments of keyboard warriors talking crap, talking shit, doing what they do.
Mike said we missed him.
No,
Yeah, you missed me.
Yeah, we did.
He was responding to Clint's message.
Oh.
He said, "I'm back. What did I miss?" He said, "You missed me."
Yeah.
Me. Okay.
Mike was here. Mike!
I know. He gone.
Just kidding.
He gone.
I want to step out right now.
Yeah. So I mean,
I
granted,
apologize. This new freaking
Yeah, no, we get it.
medicine.
We get it. Little bladder,
killing me. No,
blood
it's not
pressure
even that.
medicine, all that. Are you on anything else that I don't know
Dude, I
about?
can barely drive from Beaumont to Lumberton without peeing on myself.
Drugs.
Yeah, well, he's on a blood pressure med. But I have not made it out to Justin's House of Bourbon. It's on my bucket list of places I would like to go to, which... I just realized the Tater had a bottle of William LaRue Weller. That's funny. But yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that it went down the way it did, and I do agree with Bucky on the fact that rated was probably a clickbait word more or less. But at the same time, I mean, if they were doing wrong, they're doing wrong. I don't know because I'm not in Kentucky. I don't know enough about the situation to make an accurate assessment on it. But like I said, if they were in the wrong,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like it could have been resolved a little easier than saying something like rated, because when you think rated...
Well, that's what I told John while you were outside. Rated to me was more or less a clickbait word.
Right, because you think of guys with like helmets and bulletproof vests kicking in the front door.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what you had with the ATF being involved. I mean...
Right, but I think that's a little overblown. Especially with and I would implore everybody to do a little bit of research on the antique dusty whiskey laws that are out there, just because the resale laws for whiskey are weird. I mean, it's just, I can buy my cell phone, turn around and sell it on eBay for whatever the hell I want, and nobody says a word. when you do that with alcohol, there's a ton of laws and restrictions there. I feel like if they were in the wrong, it was because of a little slip up on paperwork or whatever. Like, I feel like the ATF or the TTB or whoever could have sent a letter and say, hey, this is where you went wrong. Let's figure this out. Because they still had their TABC license. They were still able to sell alcohol technically. But with the raid, they had to shut it all down.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, let's be honest, from different reports, it was basically and I don't know this, I'm just going off of what I've read.
Right.
It was basically a high-priced secondary market venue.
Correct. And that's what it is. And it's a museum.
Yeah. And as very much anti-secondary market as this show is, your answer intrigues me just a little bit, because I know you, and I know how much you are against the secondary market.
But I feel like what they're doing isn't for me and you. We're not going to walk in and buy a bottle from that
God,
place.
no.
I want to walk in there and see a bottle from 1983 that has original Pappy Van Winkle juice in it. That's what I want to walk in there and see, or all the dusty bottles. That's what intrigues me about it. Am I going to buy any of those bottles? No. Hell no. But they're doing it because they're going into these places, or they're finding these bottles and saying, okay, we'll offer you $100 for it. Okay, great. They buy it for $100. They put it on their shelf. They're going to make a profit.
Well, yeah, I mean,
is $250 for bottle X 3 times as much as retail? Yes, but it's because it's an old dusty, and they went and bought it from an individual, and now they're putting it on their shelf. They advertise what they're doing. They're not trying to be a quote unquote secondary market. It's not the black market of whiskey. It is a house of bourbon, a house of whiskey. They're showing off old dusties that nobody else can find.
I don't know. I mean, I have a slightly different viewpoint.
And that's fine, and you can.
My slightly different viewpoint is, if you're going to consider yourself a quote-unquote museum for old dusties, I ain't walking into an art museum and buying anything in it, number one.
And you don't have to.
But my thing is, you shouldn't be able to. The temptation of...
But at the same time, if...
it having a price tag, if you're going to walk in...
If Jeff Bezos walks into an art museum and says... that's an original Mona Lisa for $2.7 million, and he wants to buy it, they're going to sell it to him. Whatever. I don't know the price of a Mona Lisa.
Yeah, but I mean,
But they didn't get it for 2.7. I promise you that.
To me, I don't even feel that should be... you shouldn't be able to do that neither. If it's hanging in a museum, it's in a museum for a reason, in my opinion. Because I guess I look at museums a little differently than the average Joe does.
Yeah.
I look at a museum as a place where I want to go and see stuff that...
nobody else is going to see.
Exactly. And it will be prime delivered. Yeah.
They are selling
I
collectibles.
don't think-
Some of the bottles are extremely old, just like everything else. It's driven by supply and demand, and the supply is super, super low.
Yeah.
Agreed. See, I feel like Mike is somewhat more on my side than your side.
But I mean, it's all about how you spin it. Okay, if you're going to spin it as, hey, we are a quote unquote house of bourbon museum for people to come in and look at it, be a museum.
The average person will come in and look at it.
Right.
The quote unquote Jeff Bezos of our world will go in and buy bottles, and they'll take care of those people.
So, just to let you know, though, the Mona Lisa, there is a law in France prohibiting the sale of certain paintings.
It was a terrible example.
The Mona Lisa is one of those.
Horrible
paintings.
example. I get that, but you know what you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, we get
An old
exactly
dusty.
what you're saying.
Yeah, no, we get it.
Mike showed up with an old dusty of Rebel.
Right.
That was freaking amazing. That was cool as shit. You put that bottle 3/4 of the way full in Justin's house of bourbon or whiskey. Sorry, I keep saying bourbon. I'm doing what everybody else does. You put that in Justin's house of whiskey, and it sells for umpteen X over the normal retail price. And that's because it's an old Dusty that you can't get anymore.
Yeah.
I'm going to charge you a premium for a bottle from 1983. And you have to understand that. Because it's no longer available.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I mean, I understand that. I just don't know. I guess I just look at things a little differently. I don't believe that one individual should be going out and buying all this stuff and then turning around and charging way more to sell. I'm not a fan of the secondary market. And I can tell you right now, there's people on my personal Instagram page that have started following me, and that's what they do.
Samesies.
I mean, they send a price
God, I
list,
hate it.
and I still have it on my phone. The prices are stupid.
I hate it.
Like, stupid ridiculous.
I agree.
I will never
Hate it.
buy a bottle from an individual.
Hate what they're doing. Promise you.
If it comes down to that,
100% agree.
I just won't try it.
100% agree with you. Don't agree with that. But I do agree with what Justin's House of Whiskey is doing for the sheer fact that they're finding things that you can't find on the market today. Somebody selling a bottle of Weller 12 for $200 is not the same as somebody selling a bottle of the original Stetzel Winkle juice. Like that bottle is rare and you'll never find it again. Stitzel Weller. God dang, why was that so hard for me to figure out? Stitzel Weller juice in an original bottle from 1974, you're never going to find that.
I agree with that.
And if I'm going to charge you $2,000 for it, $15,000 for it, whatever it is, that's for a reason. Because it's a museum type of bottle. And if you want to pay for that and you want to have it in your house, you're going to pay a premium for it because nobody in the world will ever have it again. But at Weller 12 for $400 or a Full Proof for $800 or a CYPB for $1,000, that's dumb because they're continuously coming to the market still today. You don't see the difference.
Well, I think museums are for you to look at and appreciate the art that goes into making these quote-unquote old Dusties. Not for, hey, if you got a pocket full of cash and no brain cells, you can buy it.
Clint.
I mean,
I'm surprised it wasn't a Dusty turkey.
I know.
Clint.
With Clint, yeah, you always... Clint's a turkey hunter, dude. He's straight up turkey hunter, and I love it.
I'm curious. I've got a brand new bottle of Old Ezra sitting at the house. I don't know if Clint's had it yet, but I'd be curious if I haven't even popped it. I found it. I bought it. I was like, yeah.
I bought it.
I'm going to pop it eventually. Anyways, we both agreed at about the hour and a half mark, we were going to kind of start winding this down. We're at an hour and 42 minutes. I think we are both adults and we can both agree to disagree. That's the beautiful part about our show. So I have a couple questions for you because we don't have a top four for tonight. Or Fab Four.
Yeah, and we did that on purpose.
I'm going to go with a... I don't think this fully...
I get that a Mickey Mantle card sold for $12 million, and yes, it's a piece of cardboard. I feel the same way about that as what I just said. I just don't.
See? I knew he was going to break out a Dusty turkey.
Tomorrow night with my brother-in-law.
All right, so where was I?
I guess I'm more, and I'm going to steal a page from John with this, I'm more of the sentimental guy that if I had one of these old bottles, I would want to pass it down. Now, what my kids did with it after I'm dead and gone, that's their business.
If Braden sold it for $3,000,
hey, good for
to
Braden.
Justin,
he's got $3,000. Like I said, after I'm gone, I can give a shit less what he does with it. When they pat me in the proverbial face at the end of the day with the dirt, I care less.
And that's that. But I
while
like what
I'm here,
I like.
Bourbon looked at me and said, "Hey, Dad, Justin's House of Bourbon wants to buy this bottle, and they're going to give us like $4,000 for it." And I'd be like, "Tell Justin shove it up his ass."
But
Not happening.
I see where Mike is going with it, because a Michael Jordan game worn jersey can sell for $150,000, and that's okay, right?
I don't really.
But that's okay because it's
To
quote
society-
unquote memorabilia
To
from an
society,
athlete.
yes, it's okay.
So why can't a bottle of whiskey sell for quote unquote the same amount or the same markup after so long?
So let me put it to you like this. I see where Roy's coming from. So another famous podcaster, we were talking about him yesterday, Logan Paul. He has the world's most expensive and rare Pokemon card chained to his neck.
Yeah, wears it around his damn neck.
It is the Pokemon Illustrator card.
Yeah.
The reason that card is so expensive is because that was one of the first cards that the original creator ever designed.
Yeah.
All right. I see where Roy's coming from because that should be in a museum. Okay. It shouldn't be worth any money at all. Okay. Nobody should be able to buy that card because that creator put his blood, sweat, and tears into creating that card. All right. That should be somewhere where it can't be destroyed. It can't be sold. It can't be anything. That's what Roy's trying to say. There is a sentimental value in certain things. The Michael Jordan thing, that shouldn't be sold because that man played in his blood, sweat, and tears for that. There's no price tag you can put on that. That's what he's trying to say.
I love when I don't have to speak.
Yes. Okay, fine.
Which is kind of dumb because I do a podcast, so I should never want to speak.
Right.
I should always want to speak.
I like that one. Better enjoy it with your kids when they're adults, in my opinion.
I would agree with that too.
Yeah, exactly, Jeremy. My kids won't have shit for unopened bottles either. It's all getting drank.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah, and exactly, Clint. It's expensive because he paid the price for it. He went around finding those old Dusties.
Right.
He paid $3,000. You're going to pay $4,800 because in our world, if I don't make a profit, I can't stay open.
Yeah.
And I understand that. But I digress. We move on.
Yeah.
I like your point. I think we all, in a sense,
I think
agree.
we all agree, but we're all slightly in disagreement.
Right.
If that makes any sense.
For this one instance.
I mean, we all agree that the secondary market is garbage.
Blows dick.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Very much.
So I want to ask a couple quick questions. This has to do with the professional football league of our country. Because I can't really say the words. I think we'll get shut off. I don't really know. There's trademark things there.
Fuck Goodell.
So the football teams of these cities, I'm going to ask some questions.
Okay.
All right. So I'm not going to ask you who's going to win the game, but I'm going to ask you this. Kansas City versus Jacksonville. Would you prefer Kansas City barbecue or Florida Cuban sandwiches?
Kansas City barbecue.
Okay. Missouri whiskey, which is where Kansas City is. Tomstown, Ozark Distillery, Holiday, Pickney Bend, or the Florida cigar scene.
Florida cigar.
Okay. New York versus Philadelphia. New York style pizza or Philly cheesesteaks.
Philly cheesesteak.
Okay. New York whiskey, which is Widow Jane, Kings County, Hudson whiskey, or Philadelphia whiskey, which is Dad's Hat, Liberty Pole, Pennsylvania, Huntington Valley.
New York whiskey.
Okay.
Only because of Widow Jane.
Yeah, for sure. Dallas versus San Francisco. California Baja tacos or Texas barbecue.
Texas barbecue.
Okay. Texas whiskey or California whiskey.
Texas whiskey.
Okay. Yeah, very easy. And last but not least, Cincinnati versus Buffalo. Cincinnati chili or, and I didn't want to do New York pizza again, so I did New York bagels and lox, which is lox is smoked salmon on a bagel with cream cheese.
Skyline chili, baby.
There you go,
Cincinnati,
baby.
Ohio.
All right, so last but not least, Ohio whiskey, which is Watershed, Middle West, which are both kind of doing the single malt thing, or again, New York whiskey, which is Widow Jane, etc.
Widow Jane. New York whiskey.
So fun. That was fun.
Yeah.
That
And
was
I feel I'm trekking right along with our audience too, because I see a lot of my answers
Holy crap!
as well. Yeah.
that blew
Not
through
a lot of
fast.
them. Every one of them
Yeah.
is the same as yours.
Yes.
Very nice. Thank you for following along, Clint. That was
Yes.
cool. I didn't realize he was answering as I went through.
I was catching out of the
because
corner
I
of
went
my
through
eye.
those fast.
Yep. I was catching out of the corner of my eye. What? What are you looking for?
Tell me when to stop.
Stop.
I missed. We're gonna go. Nope.
What are you looking for?
I was trying to go for the closest one.
Oh,
We're gonna go with this one.
I'm still.
Are we doing a last call?
I might as well. I got to get up early. I got to take my parental unit
All right.
somewhere in the morning. I got to be in Houston at like 9 a.m.
I am regretful.
Widow Jane does have some good stuff.
Yeah, they do. They really do.
I reached out to Widow Jane, by the way, so hopefully they'll get back to us at some point. I also found an interesting one. Terry Bradshaw whiskey. I reached out to them. Yes.
Little Bradshaw action.
Do you know all the numbers that are on the neck of his bottle?
God, no. Mm-hmm.
Every Super Bowl he won.
Oh, okay.
Who's the sports guy now?
It sits on a shelf and it's called Bradshaw with a weird signature looking thing on it.
No, but it's actually cool. So if you go back and look at their social media, I think it was like a year
I don't
ago.
even look at that whiskey.
He literally walked into a liquor store and signed a bottle and stuck it on the shelf as an Easter egg, which I thought was kind of cool.
That's dope. I'm sad that I'm doing Canadian whiskey for the last call.
Sad that you're doing Canadian whiskey too.
I just randomly reached in. That's what I grabbed. God damn.
I think I got the High West if it makes you feel any better.
Single malt. Wait, what? Single malt.
Oh, that was his. He was
Yeah.
your questions.
Yeah, Clint. Great minds think alike. Clint and I are on the same page. Every answer on the same page.
Losers. The old Widow Jane rep for our area was awesome.
Oh,
I don't know that.
I don't know her.
Him? Her? Why is it got to be a her?
I don't know. I mean,
Jeez.
let's be honest. Most reps are female. I mean, we saw
All right.
that at Whiskey Fest first.
We're approaching 2 hours. We said we were gonna get you out of here.
I'll sleep when I'm dead. But
You
anyway,
gotta sleep tonight because you gotta get up early in the morning.
that's fine. You gotta go to
Like
work.
I'm gonna do a Roy. Wee.
I like it because you can spin it faster that way. I feel I have more control.
John, you beautiful bald-headed little man, hit that button. Let's go!
Tonight's last call is from F. Scott Fitzgerald.
Ooh.
First, you take a drink. Then, the drink takes a drink. Then, the drink takes you.
You can have me.
Bet y'all don't know where that's from.
Cheers, my fellow brother.
It was a her.
I'm sorry.
The rep was a her.
The rep was a her. So,
Oh,
not just pretty face.
you don't know.
Hashtag go Hawk.
All right, y'all. We are the Functional Gentlemen.
Yes.
You've been amazing. Thank you for all of the comments.
Yes.
We're going to come back next week and do part 2 of Whiskeynomics.
Yes.
Bourbonology 101, Intro to Whiskey. I've got a couple more bottles. I may throw in a few more.
Picked 2 barrels of Longhorn through her.
Nice.
Where
Very
is
nice.
she? Is she somewhere else or did she just retire? I'm curious. Because she's somewhere else, I would love to pick her brain on some stuff, especially since she worked for Widow Jane.
Speaking of ex-reps, RIP to that one.
Yes, I know.
I don't know. I'm not going to give out the information.
No,
I don't
I'm
think
not
we
neither.
need to do that
No,
here.
I'm not neither.
That will probably come out later, and I think we've got a little bit of a one-off coming for that one.
Yes. Yes, we do.
Drink them or leave them. It's all the same in the end. Exactly. You'll fall in love. I'll fall asleep, and we're always out. But we'll be back with part 2 of 101 Intro to Whiskey.
Yep.
I've got a few more I want to talk about. I got a few more different styles I want to talk about, and a few more different finishes.
Fantastic.
We're gonna do that next week.
Yes.
Y'all tune in. We are live every Friday at 7 p.m. Texas time.
Yes.
We are the Functional Gentlemen.
She went to Mezcal, and then I don't know,
Wow.
PM, and I'll get, okay.
Yep, for sure, Jeremy. Thank you.
Nice.
As always, hashtag function your way.
Yep.
Hashtag for the fans.
Check out the merch.
There it is. What's the website?
FunctionYourWay.live.
The words are hard. Functionyourway.live.
I've been up since 3. Words are always hard.
You can find our merch at functionyourway.live. We've got some great stuff on there. We've got some great stuff coming out soon.
Hold on, have we sold any merch? I need the new numbers on merch. I have numbers
need to
on
take a
everything
look.
else, but not
We'll take a
merch.
look at the
We'll take a
merch.
look.
Y'all have been great. Thank you so much for all the comments. Thank you so much for the support.
Yep,
That's why we
cheers.
call you friends of the show, not fans of the show, because you really are our friends.
Did you
Good
see
night.
they changed the rules
Be
about
safe.
finishes on whiskey? No Duff, right? We have not
Duff,
read
we're
into
going to have to
that.
check that one out.
We'll
We'll be
check
back
that out.
next week,
Yep.
and I'll maybe have some information on that. Y'all check it out. We've got tons of shows. They'll be live on basically anywhere you can get a podcast.
Yep.
Just listen, follow, like, subscribe.
Check us out in
comment.
the future, too. We got some interesting stuff coming down the pipe.
Bunch of interesting stuff coming up.
Bunch of interesting stuff.
We're going to get out of here because you got to be up early. I got to be up early.
Yep.
Let's go home. Hit the button.
I got to be up earlier than you do.
My time, get what I deserve. Trendsetter, I got style for you. Ain't seen you at the top, it's been a while for you. Big you up and they look down on you. Take one